This video will show how to install the heater control cable for 1986 through 1991 full-size Jeeps. The first step is going to be to remove the old cable. And to do that, you can see there is a little clip up top here. You gently pry that up with a flathead screwdriver. Keep your finger on top of it because it does like to pop off and go flying and it's hard to find. Then there is a secondary clip that sits on this rod. That will slide off, and then you'll use a pair of vice grips or needle nose pliers to compress it, and then the cable itself will slide out. You are going to reuse this secondary clip and the top clip. Then you're going to take off this 5/16 screw. You can either use a flathead screwdriver, but I prefer to use a socket, just seems to get better engagement. Then after that, you're going to be pulling off this grommet, and you will slide it towards you. And since you're going to reuse this, the only way to really get it on easily is to cut it with a razor blade and make a slit, because you're going to slide it off of this cable and put it on the new cable. Okay, so we'll get in here and just ever so gently slide it underneath, and then just wiggle this guy up. And you may have to work one side and then the other a little bit just to get it to pry up, and it should just come right off. There we go. And here's what it looks like. Whoops. Okay, now sometimes you can just slide this off, which I think on ours we might be able to, but maybe not. And the next step would be to take this guy off. You can just ever so gently compress it and slide up and off. Then we'll need to get in with the 5/16 socket and remove the screw. We'll get in here with the 5/16 socket and we'll go ahead and take that screw off. Since we're most of the way through, I'll do the rest with my finger. Take that off, and there we go. And you are going to save this screw as well. And now you can see this is all loose. And here is the clip that you're going to be taking apart. And maybe a little hard to see. Let's see if we can get this to focus in a little bit better. So this guy actually sandwiches the cable in between the prongs. And so you use a pair of vice grips or a pair of needle nose pliers to take those off. And I'll do a shot here in a few minutes separately and see if we can get a better angle on this so you can see how to take it apart and put it back together. Okay, so what we're going to do is put in a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers, and we'll pry it off of here. And you can see now that it came out. And so you can see from the side, this has to be compressed. Get that out of the way. And so what you're going to do is you have to compress this enough to slide the cable through this side, underneath and over this middle tab, and then back down and under on the other side. So earlier I mentioned the grommet. You may have to pry it out with a screwdriver. On ours it's already been cut, so I should be able to just pull it out with my fingers. There we go. And here you can see it, and you can see the cut that we made, and that way we can take it off and reuse it on the new cable. And now for the second part, we're going to have to go inside the cab. So on the inside of the cab, you're going to have to remove the trim plate, which is this guy. He just pops out with a couple little tabs you can see here. Little metal tabs on top of it. Some of them might stay in place in the dash like this one. And let's see if we get this guy. That one. While others will come out properly. So that just simply pops back out. Move this out of the way. So this one only has 3 here, here, and here. It's missing one there, so we'll have to get a replacement. And we'll go ahead and get those removed and show you the next step of removing the cable from the back of the actual control head. So with those 3 screws removed, you can slide this unit out from the dash. And the wires are going to be a bit tight on here, making it a little bit harder to move in and out. So I go ahead and just disconnect all of those just to make it easier and have a little bit more room to work with. So this guy pries up and it'll slide this piece off. And then you have these 2. And make sure that you note which wires go where, because they are basically the same type of connector. With all of the connectors removed here, 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 and the vacuum section removed here, it makes it much easier to access everything. On ours, we also noticed that the light was out, so we're going to be replacing this little guy right here. And that is a GE74 bulb, but we're going to go ahead and replace ours with an LED. For removing the rest of the cable, there is a little tiny tab here which bends back in. Let's see if you can get a better shot of that. This guy actually bends back this way, and at the same time you're going to push down on this black tab that's there. Let's show you here, and that's just the other side of this guy. Once it's out, then all you do is slide the cable off of here, and then you're going to fish it back through. Now what I like to do is tie either a piece of heavy-duty string or some wire, like a flexible coat hanger wire or something maybe a little bit thinner, or you can even tie the new cable to it, and you're going to want to secure them together, probably with a very small zip tie, or you could use some electrical tape. That way when you fish this back through the dash, I'm just going to go back inside of here, it actually has to go behind the AC system, but in front of where the wiper arms are. And it's a little bit hard to fish through, so if you tie them together, as you pull it out into the engine bay, it'll draw the new cable in through and go right through the same hole, making your job a lot easier. All right, so we'll just go ahead and pull this guy the rest of the way out. There we go. And then the end actually slid off in my hand. So you can see that this piece is hooked. So when you go to put the new one on, make sure you slide it over there, align the tab, and push it in to that opening, and it'll click in place. So here we have the two ends zip tied together, and then I'm going to wrap it with electrical tape just to make sure that nothing grabs on any other wires on the way through, and then we'll pull it into the engine bay. And with just a few seconds of pulling, you can see that we got the end through here. And so we're going to go ahead and just pull that a little bit more, and then we're going to take off the tape, get rid of the zip tie, and we'll connect it over here on this end. All right, now that we're back inside, the last step is going to be to hook up the cable to here, push the connector through here until it locks in place, then reinstall all of your little wiring clips and slide it back in. And this is what the finished product looks like installed. And you can see it slides in, slides right back out. Okay, now that we have this piece reinstalled here, we have the grommet on. What we're going to do is go ahead and slide this guy on here. There we are. And sometimes you do have to compress that again. Okay, and we'll get him tightened up the rest of it. And the last step is to push the grommet back in place. And that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section below. Make sure to like and subscribe. And you can get this on bjsoffroad.com. Thanks.